Bonjour. Hello everyone. So sorry, I don't speak Spanish and my English is all full. So if you don't understand something, make some sign, I will try to repeat. So my name is Jean-Christophe Carteron. I work for a French business school in France called CAGE, Marseille, Bordeaux and Paris. Miriam asked me to visit you and to show you one of the tools that we are using now, and especially something with the UN linked to the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. To start with, I would like to say that we all make mistakes. Some of the mistakes, depending where you are in the society, some of the mistakes will just impact yourself or impact others. And the problem is, of course, that most of us, actually, we are the people who actually, when we take a decision, it will impact others. I deeply engaged since a couple of years now, because I do believe that most of the crises, economic crisis, social crisis, environmental crisis, all of them are the consequence of human decision. Most of them of people with during their job, and most of them also with high level of education. So actually in a higher ed, of course we produce lots of, or we help people to be nice, but we also produce all the people who have created the crisis. And the story or the project start actually in Rio, when with some UN colleagues, we've launched something called EASY, and the idea was to put on the shoulder of the deans and the president of university the responsibility. Of course, they're not guilty, but they are responsible for doing something. So we've launched that initiative, and actually it became the biggest self-contribution for the whole Rio process. So since that, we try to surf on the wave. I deeply believe that most of the people, even the people who have created the crisis, are not bad. There are few crap people who are selling drugs or weapons to kids exist, but most of the people who actually have created crises actually just they didn't know, or they didn't want to know, or they were lazy, or whatever the reason, but actually they are not doing bad because they want to be bad. You know, there is few people who love to have CO2 emission or to kill people in their work, etc., etc. So starting from that, we had this idea. If you want to apply to become my students, one of our students, we won't ask you to be an English teacher, but we will ask you at least to know a few words of English. My English is not perfect, but at least I hope you understand me. So in order to check that, there are different tools worldwide, and one is called the TOEFL, for instance. So we ask my students to take the TOEFL just to check if we will be able to communicate. And the idea that we had, which is really a simple idea, is why don't we try to have exactly the same kind of tool to be sure that any kind of decision makers, of course students first, but of course people in the company, people in the government, etc., etc., they don't need to be expert on sustainable development, but at least they need to have this minimum basic knowledge to be able to actually act in a responsible way. So we've launched something called the SULI test, which means Sustainability Literacy Test. And first of all, we try to ask, what does it mean? So for us, sustainability literacy is really knowledge, skills, and mindset. Okay, so we try to cover that. Even to be honest, as of today, most of the questions are linked to knowledge, because it's an international tool. And so you have international set of questions, 30 international questions, which actually, wherever you are on Earth, you have, those questions came from the same database. Then you have some national committee who have produced local questions, because of course the issue of water is not exactly the same in the rainforest in Brazil and in the middle of the Sahara in Africa. And also, since 2-3 years, some UN bodies ask us if we can create specific set of questions per SDG, per Sustainable Development Goal. After that, of course, we have a survey, and then something quite interesting. So we give the test for free, and then you have the possibility to have a kind of customization. And then, for instance, we have some company who actually are producing some specific set of questions for their staff, linked to their strategy or linked to the job of the people. So as of today, almost 140,000 people took the test worldwide. And so it means, for instance, the blue point in Nairobi, in Kenya, we have a committee, but we didn't receive yet the questions. So for the moment, if you are students in Kenya, you will only have the international set of questions. So the people who actually validate the questions are mainly UN and research center, and then after that is the national committee who produce the questions. So every year, so it's now recognized by the UN as a tool to follow the SDGs. So we won't never measure if there is discrimination, for instance, between male and female, but we will measure the knowledge of that problem. Same thing for climate change, etc., etc. So you can download the report to test.org and HLPF. So this is the different modules, and then what I'm going to do, it's 30 international questions. Nobody loves to go to take the TOEFL, nobody loves to do a test itself. It's not a funny thing, the test. But in order to push people to use it, we have created something called a quiz, and I will ask you now to go online.
Just a second.
Yes, sorry.
I think aquí no tenemos cobertura de internet súper buena, entonces podéis conectaros en esa de guest. Y vais a ver que si registráis vuestro nombre, apellido y vuestro mail, entonces ya tendréis acceso a la red internet. Y mientras hacéis esta pequeña manipulación, aprovecho para traducir un par de cosas, porque creo que el trabajo que ha hecho Jean-Christophe, que nos conocemos hace mucho tiempo, es un trabajo fantástico. A principios para los estudiantes en escuelas de comercio e ingeniería, y pasan este test para saber lo que saben de esto de cambio climático y del desarrollo sostenible. Y lo que vamos a hacer ahora es como si fueseis estudiante, y entonces hacer un pequeño test del nivel de conocimiento. Y es algo que empezó a pequeña escala y que ahora las Naciones Unidas están recuperando para potenciar un conocimiento dentro de las empresas, dentro de las administraciones. Hace un par de semanas en el Senado, en Francia, en el Parlamento, los diputados franceses han estado pasando este test. No os cuento la risa. Pero bueno, a partir del momento en que vemos que falla un poco nuestra cultura general y de lo que estamos hablando, pues nos incita también y nos invita a ser mejor. Y entonces, SADE no tiene aún esto, así que lanzo un mensaje porque espero que SADE y ESE, las grandes escuelas en España, adoptarán esto con Naciones Unidas. Pero vamos a jugar por equipo. ¿Está todo el mundo conectado? So just 3 minutes to connect. Well, I translate a little bit for you and explain what you have been doing and how it works for the people to know what they don't know. Because first we don't know that we don't know, then we know that we don't know, then we learn and we know and we do.
Just,
so thanks.
just the time that you managed to connect yourself. What I discovered, I work on sustainable development for more than 10 years, and I realized that before the test, I did a conference on sustainable development without any idea of the people in front of me. Because you are here today, I assume that when I'm going to talk about climate change, you know what I mean. But there is a huge risk when you do a conference, a course, whatever, that the people in front of you are rather better than yourself, so they know more than you, so you're just a boring person, or really, really too low, so they don't even understand what is the problem. So, okay, I forgot to divide the room, so just, who has a problem to connect? Yeah, you don't have it. Okay, if you can just sit with someone with a connection, and we can play with that. Miriam, does it work? Okay. Well, I'm going to show you again. This tool is also available for you in your company, in your NGO, in your, of course, in your university. So don't hesitate to take it. You will just have a look on that. As Miriam mentioned, we did it with, of course, all my students. They have to take the real text. So we have 4,000 people who took it every year. But it's the case in most of the business school in France. HEC, Sciences Po, l'EM Lyon, etc. Few in the US, and I think a couple in Spain, but not a lot. And so I'm gonna start just to show you, because I know that you have a program, a busy program. Are you okay? Okay. So first question. So what I did this morning, I just plug a short session and an easy session, because I know that you are tired, so it's going to be an easy one. We have different types. By the way, we have a module on circular economy, we have a module on climate change, we have different modules. This one, those questions are really covering few of the topic of the SDGs. So you will have 1 minute per question. So first question, about the process of sustainable development goal. We use this quiz, for instance, as an icebreaker during executive education, just to start a discussion around that. 30 seconds. $20. 10 seconds. 6, 5, 4, 2, 1, 0. Okay, just to know, who is team 1? Can you raise your hand? Okay, team 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so totally mixed, so that's cool. So the good answer was, hold on, check. Answer C. By the way, about the SDG, nobody talk about the SDG. It's the first time that the government, company, NGO, and local territory or local government actually can have the same roadmap. It's just amazing. Huh? We can disagree on the way how to reach something, but it's just unique. And I think it's something that we should use. It's unique that it was created by all the civil society, all the stakeholders. So just I push you to use it a little bit. So, congrats, team 1. Next question. $30 seconds. You do less noise than the French deputy. We'll try to cheat when we did it. 8 seconds. 5. Okay. 0. Okay. So the good answer, they are covering all the dimensions, the sustainable development. And by the way, they add on those 3 dimensions, environment, economics, and social, they add peace and partnership. Because what we discover is, of course, in a war, it's quite difficult to have a sustainable development actions. Team 2. Discrimination. So of course with 6 questions you won't cover a lot, but it's just to give you a flavor. And as you see, few of the questions we try to do it in a more funny way than what you're going to have in the test, just to push people to use it. "20 seconds. Two, 1, 0. Okay, the right one is the B. Okay, team 2. Whoa. Oh, team 3 and 4, what are you doing? Forced labor. When you take the test, the real one, when you answer the question, you have, of course, a feedback, and you have also source if you want to learn more on that topic. "30 seconds. "20. Here we go. Duck. 0. No, it couldn't be 7 billion. Or you need to change your work. By the way, just a little detail. This morning you heard that the planet and the humanity have there are some challenges in front of us. So the idea of a test is not to organize a collective suicide at the end of the test. Okay? So what we try to do is to plug some questions which, not only good news, I can't say that 25 million people is good news, but it's better news than 250. So try to have that. And for instance, in our school, we have some faculty who have produced some specific modules on, let's say, sustainable finance, for instance, for their course. They ask the students to take the test just before the classroom, this specific module, and then they use that as a starting point for a discussion. So it's something that you can also use. Okay, and then question 5. Chemical CFC. Miriam, how do you say CFC in Spanish? Thanks. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, this is, by the way, this is one of the good news. When the society recognizes that there is a problem with scientists, and they manage to work with government and corporation, sometime humanity managed to be not so stupid. Sometime. So, not always, unfortunately, but sometime. Okay, congrats, team 4. And the last one, and again, as you see, is really few questions. Hunger. It's an easy one. Twenty seconds. Ten. And that's it. So, of course, it's not a problem of production, it's really a problem of distribution for the food. Okay, and now, who is the winning team? Team 4, Team 4. Oh, yes! Congrats to the Team 4. So just to finish, linked to the topic of this meeting, of course, if you go online, you register easy, 2 minutes or something like that, you create a session, and then you invite your staff, your colleagues, your board. If you do a board session, please do it anonymously, otherwise they won't play, for your students. And just to let you know that you have this international module, but we have 2 modules which actually are directly linked to that. We have one module that we made with UNEP last year on circular economy, with the program on environment at the UN, and one on energy with UN DESA that we launched two years ago. So it's something, it's up to you, but thank you very
Oye,
much.
muchas gracias, bravo. Gran aplauso para Jean-Christophe. Bravo. Y tengo que deciros que he tenido que suplicarle para que venga porque no tenía tren y normalmente está midiendo su impacto en el planeta y tuve que coger un avión que era a 3 de la mañana y decía, pero ven, por favor, ya compensaremos, ha sido una gran negociación, ha dormido poco, pero valía la pena porque creo que son las formas de entender todo lo que no sabemos. Y realmente tengo un deseo hoy, es que SADE, y espero IESE y otras escuelas aquí en España adopten esto rápido. O sea que mil gracias por estar, Jean-Christophe.